Okay, hi and welcome. So we'll start it now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, okay, we will start it. So they are total the 15 participants in this time, but in this time they are not missing their time, so that cannot join in this time. But no problem, I will send you all of this course material, then practice code and everything, so that they can also learn from the recording session, recording video classes. I also start my recording. Okay,
recording in progress.
so they can cover these classes for watching this recording video classes. So we will start it now. Okay, so hi and welcome to this beginners course on Google Earth Engine. So I am Mijan and I will be tutor for this course. So basically this course for only for the beginners, and I focuses on those person who don't know any programming language or any Google Earth Engine function. Okay, so anyone can using this Google Earth Engine platform who don't need to any programming language or Google Earth Engine function. I hope after completing this course you can able to learn all of this Google Earth Engine function, and you also learn to all of these basic things or function in JavaScript for Google Earth Engine platform. Okay, so mainly this training session will be held for the 3 days, and we will cover all of this course content one by one. So first of all, we will discuss about the introduction part of Google Earth Engine. In this part we will discuss about the what's the Google Earth Engine, then what's the application of Google Earth Engine, then how does the work, then what's the advantage of using the Google Earth Engine platform, and how you can start this tool. Okay, so first of all, do you have any experience with using the Google Earth Engine platform before? Any experience? Anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, okay, no problem. So basically this course I will try to show you all of these things from the beginners. So okay, so do you have any experience with programming language, just Python or JavaScript or other programming language?
Yes, sir. A little bit, sir.
Okay, which programming language, Python or?
Little bit of Python and Java, C, and C++.
Okay, no problem. So basically in this course I will try to show you all of this programming language which you need in this using the Google Earth Engine platform. So that's why you can easily understand all of this function or all of this algorithm in Google Earth Engine platform easily. So you will also cover the Google Earth JavaScript programming, okay, in this session.
Sir, the Google Earth Engine works with JavaScript, sir, or any other language also.
You can also use the Python API. Google Earth Engine platform has supported two programming languages, JavaScript
Okay.
and Python. Okay, we will focus
Okay.
is the JavaScript programming because JavaScript programming is more advanced, and we can easily do for the highly interactive algorithm using the JavaScript programming very easily and very quickly. Okay,
Okay, sir. Okay.
so then first of all, what is GEE? GEE is the short form of the Google Earth Engine platform. It is the cloud-based platform for geospatial analysis. Okay, and it is a tool, just you can say it is a tool that performs the large-scale data driven for environmental analysis. It combines the lot of remotely sensed data. Okay, it's come from the USGS, NASA, Google, and more sources. GE is unique and innovative because you can easily perform the highly interactive algorithm development at global scale and across the large amounts of data very quickly and efficiently. And you can access over the 40 years of satellite imagery using the Google Earth Engine. You don't need to download any satellite imagery, just you can write your code and you can do for everything, write your code. You don't need to download any satellite imagery, just Landsat, MODIS, Sentinel or other imagery. Okay, you can access over 40 years of satellite imagery using the Google Earth Engine platform. So then if you have any own data, suppose you can make the own your vector data or raster data, then you can also use this data set in Google Earth Engine very quickly and efficiently. You can just import this data and work with it. Okay, then you can apply the range of common algorithm to do data very quickly and efficiently. Then finally you can do everything. Then you want to export these images as a TIFF format. You can export all of the satellite imagery, you can export all of the land cover classification map, you can export any imagery from the Google Earth Engine platform, and you can also import it from the some tables, chart, map, and output. You can get all of these things from easily Google Earth Engine platform. So its application included, we can say that it mainly detecting the deforestation, then you can also do for the classifying land cover classification, then estimating forest biomass and carbon, then mapping the roads waterless areas, okay, and assessment of plant health status, then air quality monitoring. So I think unmuted, please mute. Okay, so air quality monitoring you can also do for the water quality monitoring and flood mapping and damage assessment, drought monitoring, then burn severity mapping, and so on application. You can do any remote sensing analysis using this platform. You can do all remote sensing analysis very quickly and very efficiently using the Google Earth Engine platform. And you can also do for the land surface temperature monitoring, and you can do everything for analysis remote sensing in Google Earth Engine. And you can do for the very quickly and efficiently than other software, just ArcMap or QGIS or ENVI or other software. So then GE focuses on the society's biggest challenges. Suppose this is the deforestation, then drought, then climate change, then disaster, then diseases, then global food security, then sustainable development. And it focuses all of the society's biggest challenges. So now Google Earth Engine is a very modern technique or tool. So that's why it is the new dimension for the geospatial analysis in remote sensing for the Google Earth Engine platform. So why this is important? So it first of all, it reduces your time to do analysis. Okay, you can do for the all of these things very quickly and efficiently. You can access petabytes of data very quickly and efficiently. You can do for the whole land cover classification. Suppose you want to make a land cover classification for the whole world of Bangladesh or other country, you can do just very quickly and efficiently, okay, using this platform. Otherwise, when you move to the ArcMap or QGIS software, you need to download the satellite imagery for the every tiles, then you need to merge all of these tiles, then you can do for this. But in this time, when you use the Google Earth Engine platform, you don't need to download any satellite imagery, okay. So you can do for the whole thing in the cloud computing or cloud processing. You can do all of these things very quickly and efficiently. So it reduces to time to do analysis. Then it has some feature. This feature will help you to make to remove the cloud and haze from your satellite imagery. Okay, you can easily remove all of this cloud and haze from our satellite imagery using this feature of the Google Earth Engine platform. Then you can use for the Google Earth Engine for the collaboration and standardization by creating a common platform for global data analysis. You can get the global data in Google Earth Engine very quickly and efficiently, and you can also compare this data from one country to another country, and you can see the change between this easily. Okay, Then what's the advantage and disadvantage of the Google Earth Engine platform? It has some advantage as also some disadvantage. So suppose first of all you can say that this advantage is that you don't need to download any satellite imagery. Okay, it's very big advantage, because we need to download the satellite imagery for when you use the traditional software, just ArcMap or QGIS. But in this time, when you use the Google Earth Engine platform, you don't need to downloading any satellite imagery. Okay, then you can access the petabytes of data. Or more on the way, and its computing analysis is the very fast. Okay, and it has also some disadvantage. You need to some programming knowledge. Okay, and we also covered this programming knowledge in this training session, so that you can easily know about all of this function of the Google Earth Engine platform. Okay, then it depends on your internet connection. It totally depends on your internet connection. If your internet connectivity is good, then you can get this result very quickly and efficiently. Okay, it primarily focus on the raster based imagery. Okay, it has some lack of mature and detailed documentation, but in this time I will provide you all of this documentation so that you can easily understand all of the things of the Google Earth Engine function. Okay, so how does the work? So mainly in this time it mainly work for the cloud processing. You can write custom of codes. This code send a message to the specialized server. In this time it's the Google Earth Engine server. In a matter of second, this server send you a response. Okay, you can currently JavaScript and Python are supported, but JavaScript is more advanced, and here is this training I will use the JavaScript API. Okay, so it is the software type, it is the web processing, it is the totally cloud computing, and you don't need to download any software. Then this is the main website for the earthengine.google.org, and this accessibility is the online. You must be connect with the online, and it's the totally free, and you need to just a registration for the Google Earth Engine account with your Google account. Okay, so I hope you can already completing this part, and you have all of the process you already done and make the Google Earth Engine account. Okay, have you done this step?
Yes, I have done this step.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so then your computer system is must be online, and scope is the image processing and visualization. It will mainly focus, and it will be also work the vector and raster data. So we already covered this part, because you already make your Google Earth Engine account. So I skip this part. So it's very easy. So after completing your Google Earth Engine account, you can get a message from the Google Earth Engine authority like this. Okay, you can get this message like this. Can you get this message in your email?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so this, when you completing your registration, you can get the message like this, and you can access the Google Earth Engine JavaScript API code editor. You can simply click to Earth Engine code editor. You can go to the code editor for the JavaScript API. Okay, so now I will simply this the link. When you completing your registration, when you can go to simply this link code.earthengine.google.com, you can go to this code editor, and this code editor for the JavaScript API. Okay, you cannot write here the Python code. You can write here the only for the JavaScript code. Okay, so now I will try to discuss about the code user interface, every function, so that you can easily understand. I will simply open my code editor. So this is our JavaScript API code editor, and I will discuss every function of the code editor. The Earth Engine code editor, you can see simply you can, when you complete your registration, and simply go to the code.earthengine.google.com. This website link is a web-based IDE for the Earth Engine JavaScript API. Okay, so now I will try to discuss about this. Here you can see this is our JavaScript API code editor, and this place called the code editor. okay. You can write custom of codes from here, and you can write all of this code in this script, okay, this blank place. Suppose I want to simply use the print function. I use the print function. I simply use the print function, and I simply write the code. Suppose I simply write this code, and when I click to the run, I can get this result. So mainly this place this is called the code editor, and I can write my custom of codes in the code editor panel, okay. So code editor panel is where you can write and edit your JavaScript code, okay. And then you can see here in your right, you can see right side, you can see here there at the right panel, you can see that there are 3 tabs. First tab is the inspector tab, second tab is the console tab, and third tab is the tags tab, okay. So mainly inspector tab is querying the map result. You can get the map, querying the map result from here. Suppose you can add a NDVI map in your map interactive view. This is called the map interactive view. Suppose you want to make the map interactive view. So now you want to get from the result a specific point, what's the value of the NDVI. You can just simply click to the inspector tab and click on the portion of this map, then you can get this result, okay. So in this time we can not add any layer or any map. So that's why I can, when I simply click to the inspector and get on the map, I can get here the longitude, latitude, and the zoom level, okay. I can get from here, okay. So inspector tab, you just remember that inspector tab is the map querying result, okay. Then console tab. Console tab is mainly what for the printing output. You can suppose you want to print something. Suppose I want to already show you that print. I want to print this hello world, okay. When I click to the run, I can get this result under the console tab. So you remember that console tab is mainly printing your output. And tags tab. So tags tab for managing your long running tasks, okay. Tags tab is managing your long running tasks, okay. Suppose you want to upload it, or you want to export it or import it, any shape file or any raster file, you want to upload it or export it, then this tags tab will be automatically running, okay. We will do all of these things one by one. So then you can see the left panel, there is the left panel, here you can see there are the another 3 tab. First tab is the script. Script tab for managing your programming script, okay. This the Git repository hosted at the Google. You can see when you work with the any Google Earth Engine code, you want to save it, this code will be saved under the script tab. So if you want to, you can use this code for the next time. So you can just simply save in the under the script tab. Suppose I simply, when I click to here, this code will be, this JavaScript code will be added in my code editor, okay. And when I simply click to the run, then this code will be running, okay. So in this time, you remember that script tab is managing your all of this script, which script you saved, and you can use this script for the next time, okay. Then docs tab. So this is the very good, and this is the main documentation. You can get all of this documentation from here, and you can use all of this documentation, what's the argument of this documentation and how it will be work, all of this documentation you can get from the docs tab, okay. And asset tab. Asset tab is mainly storing your own shapefile or own raster file or own CSV file, okay. It will be stored under the asset tab. So asset tab, you can upload it, you get the 250 gigabyte free, okay. You can upload it here, the 250 gigabyte free. You can upload it on your own shapefile or raster file, okay. So this stuff, and here you can see the get link. So mainly if you want to share this link with other person, okay, you can simply click to the get link, and you can simply copy and send this link, then this person will be access this code, okay. And you can see save. I already saved this code, this name animation NDVI, so it will be saved. And run is mainly work for the executing your code. I write this code, and now I want to get the output from this code. So for this I simply click to the run, then I can get this result from here. So mainly this is the code for the NDVI animation for Bangladesh for a specific time frame, this time frame, okay. You can get this result from here. If you want, you can also share this link with other person, then this person also be access this animation. Okay, then reset tab. Reset tab, when I simply click to the reset tab, this is the clear map, and clear as well as the clear the your console tab, inspector tab. Okay, when I simply click to the inspector, you can see it will be gone. And this is the apps. So apps is the managing your apps, and you can get all of these apps, which apps you already created, or you want to add some modification. So you can simply, all of these apps will be added here. So I will try to show. You can see this is the all of this app. So if you want, you can easily using this app. Suppose I will try to show you this app. Suppose this is the lift area index app. So anyone can use this app from this link. So anyone can access this app from this link and use this app. And here you can see also for the water quality analysis app for TSS. I can simply click to here, then this apps will be also open, and anyone can use this app from this link. Suppose I want to simply make a polygon any place. Okay, and it will be generating the time series of the Moody's leaf area index. It will be running, and this is the another app. Suppose you want to make the any water quality analysis for a specific place, anyone can access this link from here. Suppose first of all I simply select draw my ROI. Suppose this is my ROI. I simply draw my ROI and I set my specific time frame. I randomly set this time. Suppose it will be, I will select this, and in time I also select the in date, and I simply select I want to calculate for the turbidity, or I will turbidity. Okay, and then I simply click to the submit. Then I can get from here the turbidity. Okay, I can get here the turbidity, and we also see the turbidity chart, and when it will be high and when it will be low turbidity in this portion. And I simply click to here, this chart will be okay, you can see. And if you want to check the chlorophyll, I simply chlorophyll and click to the submit. Then I can get the chlorophyll from here. Okay, I want to check for the TSS and simply click to the submit. Okay, we can also see here this is the apps like this works, and all of these apps will be stored this tab apps. Okay, and then this is the map interactive view. Here you can see, and this is the, you can also say the terrain or satellite view of this map. Okay, this is the geometry tool. You can use the hand tool for moving the map, and you can take for the marker. Then you can also use for, this is the vector. You can easily create the point, line, polygon using this. Okay, this is the zoom level and zoom out. Okay, so any question in this part for the user interface of the Google Earth JavaScript API for the Google Earth Engine?
Sir, you showed us the turbidity chlorophyll, right, sir? Was that by default you get, or was a code written for those commands, sir?
So this code,
No, sir. Like in water quality analysis, you showed us turbidity, right, sir?
oh actually we cannot go in this part in this time, because this is the introductory part, and just I will try to show you the example of the code application of the Google Earth Engine platform, or how you can use these apps. Okay, if you want, you can also go to this link. I will send you this link so that you can easily access this application, but you cannot get the main source of this code in this time. Okay, so any question in this part in here? Okay, I will go to my next slide. So in this time I already covered this part, sharing script. You can share your script from the get link, when you can simply click to the get link and you can easily share, or if you want to simply click to copy this link from here, and you can share this link with other person, so that this person also will be access your code. So then we also learned about the some basic principle of JavaScript syntax. So That's why we will use the JavaScript API, Google Earth Engine API. So that's why we need to know the basic principle of the JavaScript syntax, and we will cover the JavaScript syntax so that you can easily understand all of this function of the JavaScript. Okay, so mainly we cover the print, string, the numbers, comment, list, dictionary, function. Okay, we also try to show you the practically so that you can easily understand. I simply go to my code editor and I open a new code editor. Okay, you can see this app, you can get the time series chart, year of time series chart for the leaf area index. Okay, you can get the whole world from here using this. Just you can draw your own region of interest, then you can get this result. Okay, so I will open my code editor. So after 10 minutes our meeting will be end, and I will send you the Zoom link so that you can join with our Zoom link again. Okay, so first of all we complete the print. So print is the function. This function will printing something what you write. Suppose I want to write here the okay, and when I simply click to the run, I can get this result under the console tab. I can get this result. Okay, this is the print. So print function is the printing something what you write. Okay, but then suppose I want to print 100, it will work. Okay, suppose now variable. So variables are used to store the object and are defined using the keyword. Okay, but you remember that when you use the variable in JavaScript programming, you must be use the var keyword. So when you use the variable in JavaScript programming language, you can use the var keyword in this here. So I simply use the var keyword, and you can then you can define your variable name. Variable name can be anything, just it has the some, you can use some, you don't need to use the keyword. Okay, I also explained this, but all of this you can write here as a variable name. Suppose in this time I can simply use the variable name is the number. Okay, and then I put here a number 100. So now this is the variable name, and this variable stored the number of 100. Okay, so you just remember that when you define the any variable in Google Earth Engine JavaScript API, you must be use the var keyword. After the define the var keyword, you use the variable name. This name is the number. I define the number, then I put my number 100. So now this 100 will be stored under the variable name. So now I want to print this. So we already know that. So when you something print, you just use the print function. I simply use the print function, then I simply use here the number, and I click to the run. Okay, you can get this result. Okay, and we also use the another variable. Suppose I want to make a variable, and I can make this variable, this variable name is the name, and here I add my name. Suppose I want to add here the okay, and when I click to the run, I can get the result Mijanur is not the defined, because you can see here this is the string. String means that the group of character. Here you can see M is one character, I is one character, J is one character, all of this the one character. When you make the group of character, this called the string, and when you define the any string, you must be used here the single quote or double quote, otherwise it will be not work. Okay, so that's why I simply use here the single quote between two sides. I simply use the name, and now I want to print this, so I simply use here the print name. Okay, now we can get this result from here. Okay, just remember that when you use the string, then you need to use here the single quote or double quote between two sides, then it will be work. Okay, and number is not a string. Okay, number is not a string. So that's why we don't need to add any single quote or double quote between two sides, but you must be used here when you use the string, the group of character, then you must be used here the single quote double character. Suppose I want to take another variable, suppose you can use the underscore in the variable name. Okay, when you use the underscore it will be okay, you can use the underscore. Suppose I want to make another variable, I can put here the I am a string. Okay, so this is a string, so that's why we use here the single quote or double quote between two sides, then it will be work, otherwise it will be not work. So I simply use here the print, and then I simply copy this my variable and paste here. Okay, then it will be okay. So just in this time you can see here, when you define the variable you must be use the var keyword, then you can write any variable name, then you can, when you use the string means the group of character, when you use the string you must be use here the single quote or double quote between two sides, and number is not a string, so that's why we don't need to add any single quote or double quote between two sides. Okay, and then we also discuss about the list. So list you can define, when you define the list you always remember that when you define the list you must be use here the square bracket between two sides. So now I define a list for a number, suppose 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, I define a list and this is the number, and I simply take a variable and I can store this list in a variable. So we already know that when you define the variable you must be use the var keyword. I simply use here the var keyword, then I simply use the variable name is the number. Okay, and now this list will be added in this variable name number. I want to show this result, I simply use the print function, then I simply copy this variable name and paste here, and when I click to the run I can get this result, you can see. And you can see this will be start from the 0, because JavaScript programming is the 0 index. Here the 0 is noted the first result. Okay, so you can see this is the first result, we can see here. So it will be start from the 0. 0 is the first position, 1 is the 0. You can see it will be counting from the 0. So I want to make the another example. Suppose I can take the another list for a country. I can give the variable name is the country, and I use the list. So you always remember that when you define the list you must be used here the square bracket. And now I want to make a list for the country, and country name is a string, so that's why I need to use here the single quote or double quote. Suppose I want to use here the country name Bangladesh, then I can go to the another country for India. Okay, I make a list for the country. So now I want to print this list. I simply use here the print, then I simply call the country variable name and paste here, and when I click to the run I can make a list for a country, and here you can see this index will be start from the 0. Okay, so Bangladesh is the 0, you can see this is the indicating the first portion of the 0. The 0 index refers to the first item in the list. Okay, then 1 India, 2 Nepal, and 3 Pakistan. So now you want to print, you can see this is the number for the every country. I want to show this result only for the Bangladesh. So you can see Bangladesh value is the 0. So now I want to only show for the result for the Bangladesh. So that's why I need to use here the square bracket and put here the Bangladesh serial number. So here you can see the Bangladesh serial number is the 0. I simply put here the 0, and when I click to the run I can get this result for the Bangladesh. Okay, when I put here the 2 I can get this result for the Nepal. Okay, and when I put here the 3 I can get this result for the Pakistan. So mainly in this time you just remember that when you use the list you just use the square bracket, and when you use the string you must be use here the single quote or double quote, and this is the number is not a string, so that you don't need to use the any single quote or double quote. Okay, so now we also discuss about the dictionary. So just you remember that when you use the dictionary you just put here the curly bracket. Okay, and dictionary has a two part. first part is the keyword and second part is the key value. Okay, so after 1 minute I will send you the Zoom link so that you can join again this training session. Okay, so when you define the dictionary, you just use here the curly bracket, then you use here your, and this is the two part, keyword and key value. Suppose I want to make a keyword, suppose this keyword name is the food, and I can give this food value is the bread. Okay, this is the one part, this is the keyword and keyword. Then I will give the another keyword, suppose this is the country